Alright, so let's get started. First of all, thanks a lot for coming today. I really appreciate that. My name is Viktória. I am a key account manager here at Optibank, which is one of the companies at Innonic group. And basically today I'm going to talk about customer engagement based on the book of Intercom. First of all, let me share with you the agenda of this presentation. So I'm going to share with you information about the Intercom itself, what you need to know about it. Then about the book, about its some backgrounds, the 4 R's, which are the right people, the right message, the right way and the right time. And we are going to summarize everything we have discussed today. Basically, before I jump to the details about the Intercom, let me just share with you a few sentences about myself. Why did I decide to speak about this topic in particular? For me, as I'm a key account manager here at this company, my primary responsibility is to communicate with customers, to make them happy. Basically, when I joined the team, I was very new, I was very junior. I had no clue how to do that in correct way, so I had to learn and read a lot. And this is one of the books that helps significantly to improve the ways and potential goals behind the communication with the customers. So let's get started. About the Intercom itself, who of you have ever heard about Intercom? Anna, did you? Victor, you too. Thank you. Basically, Intercom, for those who haven't heard about it before, this is a service. Basically, it's SAS software which helps to set up customized messaging functions for the visitors who come to the website. It can be, for example, behavior-based messages or chat messages. So basically, Intercom helps to communicate with the customers in real time on the website. It has been established in 2011, and since then they were able to get more than 17,000 customers, which is a lot all around the world. What is very interesting about them that they learned a lot about their mistakes. They listened to their customers when made improvements, and how they did so, and how this book was created. At the very beginning, when the idea behind Intercom, when it was established, there was exact strategy, there was agenda, how this whole service is going to be created. Basically, what happened is that Intercom kept gaining customers. They did everything that Intercom requested them to do. They set up their accounts, they created campaigns and things like that. But after a while, the CEO of Intercom realized that actually he has no clue what's going on with the customers. He knows nothing about them. He knows nothing about their goals. He knows nothing about their pain points. So what happened is that he decided to spend approximately 20 to 25% of his weekly time with customer communication to collect their feedbacks, to find more about their goals, about their expectations toward their softwares, toward his software. The CEO was able to write a very long list of bullet points, what needs to be improved with Intercom, and that's how Intercom became so successful that they have now offices all around the world, from United States up until Dubai. Which tells a lot, I believe. During today's presentation, we are going to learn a lot about their ways of communication with the customers. But first of all, I'm just curious to learn more about your thoughts. What do you think? What is the purpose of B2B or communication with the customers? What do you think about it? Audrey, maybe?
Well, we need to communicate because we need to understand what they need so that we can help them in a way that will be useful to them as well. So basically, according to their needs.
Cool, thank you. Matti, how about you? Why would you communicate with your customers?
I agree that we need to find out what they love or hate about us.
That's cool. Basically, let me just summarize it to you. According to Intercom, why it's important to communicate with the customers, because we need to retain the customers. So it's not enough just to gain their trust once, but we need to keep retaining them all the time. We need to keep them engaged. Otherwise, they will just lose their interest in the service, and they will keep bouncing after a while. We need to collect their feedbacks, because how would the service be improved? What else to use than customers' feedbacks? The customers, they need to be attracted all the time, they need to be educated all the time. And of course, in order to improve the service in the future, we really need to learn more about the customer goals so that the service solves their problems. Just in a nutshell, what are we going to, or what are you going to learn about today? You're going to learn how to define the audience for your messages by segmenting your users properly, and why it is important to segment the users basically. Then I'm also going to talk about the communication styles, how to craft proper messages, and what to use, which tools or ways to use in order to communicate with these customers. And of course, I'm going to talk about the 4 R's, as I promised at the very beginning of the presentation. So first of all, let's speak about the visitors or the customer segmentation. How many of you have ever received newsletters when you read it, you felt like you have no idea what it is about? It seems like it wasn't addressed to you and you have no clue what to do with it. How many of you have ever received newsletter like that? I thought so, thanks a lot. Why it's happening? Because probably what happened maybe many years ago or many months or weeks ago, you signed up to a newsletter on some kind of a software or service website, or you purchased the product, and what's happening is that company, it does its best to keep you engaged, to keep communicating to you, but they don't segment you properly, they don't communicate the right message to you. That's why you feel lost when reading their newsletters. So whenever you receive a newsletter like that, it's the same as if that email would be addressed in a way to whom it may concern. So whoever reads it, please find the right person to read it. That's not the best idea to communicate with the customers. And actually, according to Intercom, even today, in 21st century, more than 90% of the companies does that, which is very sad. So they treat their users, they treat their customers as one big mess, and they don't think about the fact that all those people are unique, they are individuals, and their engagement level are different. Some of them are not educated at all, while the others are more advanced. So why would we communicate to them the same messages? Hi, Sabi. That's okay. Here are some classic segmentation methods. According to Intercom, there are 4 classic segmentation methods when communicating with the users or customers. The first segmentation group is freemium users. How many of you have ever signed up to the service which was offered to you to be used for free, like for a lifelong? Thank you. Why are they doing that? Basically, there can be many outcomes why the other companies, why they keep doing that, but the most common situations here are, for example, if the company or the service is very new, so they want to validate it, they want to get feedbacks from the users before making it a paid service. Or alternatively, or the product just simply, it hasn't got enough value proposition in order to ask for money for it. Well, when it comes to freemium users communication, I'm pretty sure that you would not communicate to them, for example, a free VIP ticket to attend a special, service or any occasion that is prepared by your company. But what you would rather do, you would keep educating them, you would keep them engaged, and after a while, when your product becomes paid product, you would make them sign up to the service. This is what Intercom recommends, and unfortunately many of the companies still don't do that. They communicate to the freemium users in the same way as they would be a super VIP paid users, by offering them special discounts, which are usually available in normal cases. They are available for paid customers only. So basically, the goal with the freemium users is to keep them engaged, to ask from them as many feedbacks as it is possible, so that you can improve your service, and in the future you can convert them into customers. Then paid users. Well, obviously, paid users are the most valuable users that you could imagine for yourself to have. You gained their trust once they decided to sign up to your service. Maybe that service, regardless whether that service had a one-time fee or whether it's a recurring payment service, it's very important to keep them engaged. But how to do so? Even paid users, they have got different levels of engagement. Some of them sign into their accounts frequently, while the others don't sign in at all. Some of them have very basic, very startup company, while the others are advanced enterprise level companies. You really need to make sure that your communication is prepared accordingly. Just to share with you an example, for instance, let's say if you're talking about Innonic, I'm pretty sure that our marketers would not be happy to read a newsletter about how to use Google Analytics for beginners, but they would rather read a newsletter saying, hey, here are the 10 plus 2 pro tips how to set up your Google Analytics in the most advanced way possible. So this was just an example. Then, after paid users, there are inactive users. They are paid users, but they are in so-called emergency or danger level. According to Intercom, all the users who haven't signed in to their accounts for at least 30 days, they are considered to be in a churn rate. For those who haven't heard about churn rate before, churn rate means the percentage of those visitors who have ever been your customers divided with this number of your active users, basically. So the number of those users who have cancelled your subscription. So even if, according to your statistics, they are still paid users, eventually they are not, because they have already forgotten about it and they will cancel, or they will just change their bank card details very soon in order to avoid them from being charged. So you really need to pay attention at these users, keep their engagement level very high. If you realize, or if you notice that you keep sending them emails but there is no reaction, but still there is some kind of opening rate, you can set up an appointment with them, have a personal interview. It shouldn't be too long, like 10-15 minutes, in order for you to gain back the trust of that user and to persuade him to continue using your service. Basically, in most cases, why the customers they slipping away, there can be different reasons, but in most cases, the goals of the customers change. And at the same time, maybe they are no longer satisfied with the product in the same way as they were satisfied at the very beginning, but not because your product is bad, but because the product does not support those goals that your customers have. For example, according to my experience, when I'm talking to customers who decide to cancel the subscription, they all say, no, there's nothing wrong with your service. Actually, it's on my end. There are problems with me. Just leave me alone. That's what's happening. And actually, that customer is right. There are no problems with our service. The problem is that our service no longer supports the customer's goals. So that's why we really need to pay attention, learn about the goals of the customers, and that's how we can keep our customers. And of course, there are cancelled users. For example, if someone cancels the subscription, what would be your primary goal with that customer? Renny, for instance, you receive an email from a customer saying, hey, I want to cancel your subscription. What is your primary goal? What would you do with that customer? Or what do you think is the best to do with that customer?
First, I would try to convince them to not cancel the service. Then I would try to find out why they want to cancel.
Okay, thank you. What Intercom says about it, actually, this idea also has come to my mind, and actually it comes all the time when I see a canceling customer. But what Intercom says, that person who has already cancelled the subscription, the chances of gaining him back are almost equal to 0. And the reason for it is that that person who cancelled the subscription today, he did not decide to cancel it that morning. It wasn't an idea out of the blue, but it was a very long process. That person, for some reason, has believed for many days or weeks or even months that that service no longer supports his or her goals. So that's why there was a cancellation at the end. And as a result, what we are going to hear, there are no problems with the service. The problem is with me, so please cancel my subscription now. And what Intercom says, what we really need to do with cancelled customers, instead of pushing them using your service, offering them discounts or any other benefits to continue using your product, rather you can arrange so-called exit or lost interviews, asking about the feedback. So what has changed from the very first moment of signing up towards the very last moment canceling the subscription, and the purpose for it is to avoid this situation in the future. So don't persuade that customer, but learn about the goals. Maybe I have already been in a situation when the customer like that shared the goal with me, and I just raised his attention that actually this is something that our service can do, and then I sensed that hopeful feeling that maybe he's going to resubscribe, and actually that's what happened. So you may mention that actually this is something that you still can solve, but don't be too pushy, because that's not going to work out, and there's going to be a bitter taste in the mouth of customer like that if you keep doing that. And there are also some advanced methods for visitors or for customer segmentation. So we have already discussed segmentation such as freemium users, paid users, those users who keep slipping away, and counseling users. But even within these groups, you can create subgroups within these groups. For example, let's say there are freemium users, right? You can divide them into more groups. For instance, how frequently do they log into their accounts? What is the opening rate of their emails? How frequently do they turn to customer support? How engaged they are? What are their goals? What is that they try to achieve? You can even learn about facts, for instance, annual revenue of the company, or the number of employees, or whether that company is planning to expand or something like that. Why it is important? It is important because if for any chance you decide to change the pricing of your product, but still most of your customers are in a very, very basic or startup level of their companies, they just simply will not be able to afford to pay for your service. But if you are aware about the size of their companies, you can rethink this strategy before changing your pricing. What is also important is to know what are the expectations toward the service from the customers. For example, we may say that, yeah, we have got great customer support, yeah, we have got a very user-friendly tool or interface, but is this what the customers are looking for? Maybe they are not interested in customer support. Maybe they are not interested in user-friendly interface. What they want to have mostly nowadays is an easy to set up tool which can be integrated quickly without any extra effort, and that brings them money. That's all they need. And this is what we need to bear in mind according to Intercom, and I totally agree with it. Now let's continue with the 4 R's, do's and don'ts of proper communications. Basically, what is it about? There are many mistakes that the companies keep doing when communicating with their customers or users or potential customers. For example, wrong timing. How many of you have ever received newsletters in the middle of the night, waking you up because your phone kept vibrating that you received an email? Thank you. And why is it like that? The reason for it is that that company that sent you a newsletter, they have no idea where are you located. They have no idea what are your opening hours. So they know nothing about you. They just scheduled some kind of a newsletter in the middle of the night, which is the middle of the night for you. Maybe it's early morning for them, who knows. But taking into consideration that they have no idea about you, they are going to email you in the middle of the night. So we really need to pay attention at the timing. When is the message sent to the customer? And of course, we need to know more information about that customer itself. For example, let's check the lady on the first image. Do you think she would be happy to receive a Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas email? I don't think so. Or on the second image, some guys, they are celebrating the 4th of July in United States. I don't think that they are going to be so happy receiving some kind of hey, we have just launched new feature newsletter, or they will not happy if we just give them a phone call. We don't have 4th of July in Hungary, but they have it in United States, so we really need to take it into consideration, and we need to leave them alone, even if we have a working day that day. And the same applies to the third image. For instance, if it's late July and the customer is located in Bahamas or in Miami, I don't think that that's a good idea to give him a call late in the afternoon on Friday, right? he will not be happy. What will he say? Not now, or call me back on Monday. That's the most frequent experience and my personal experience as well. And the same applies for Christmas. So I have already worked with customers who, and it was funny because the lady who I talked to, she was Hungarian and she really wanted to have a one-on-one appointment at 6 p.m. on the 24th of December. So that made me think, maybe she is not a Christian, or maybe she doesn't have a family, but it should work vice versa. So we should not bother the customers who are located in a zone where Christmas is celebrated, and we should not bother them during that period of the year. And let me share with you a good versus bad example of sending message in the wrong time. So this is the message that is sent out during the Christmas. Let's start with the second message. That is a wrong example. It says, "Hey there, happy Christmas." Well, actually we know that not everyone likes spending quality time with their family at the holidays. That's why we thought you might like to try our new calendar app as you make plans for the new year back at the office. Why not run it? Why not give it a try your best? What would be the first reaction of the customer who celebrates Christmas? He will delete it, or we'll mark it as spam, or we'll just don't bother about it. But if by any chance we know for sure that there is a high level of engagement of our users during the Christmas period, because why not? There are holidays, most businessmen, they do celebrate Christmas with their families, but they also use that time to be prepared for the next year, to schedule, to plan something. And if we know for sure that there is a high level of engagement with our product during that period of time, we can send them a message, but we can say something like this: "Hey John, for many of us the holiday period is the best spent with families." This is a great opening, but we know from our user logs, so based on our experience, that we noticed that some of you like to use the downtime to get a head start on the new year. So this is a perfect message. We know for sure that our customers are engaged during Christmas holidays, so why not give it a try and send them newsletter, but only if we know for sure that they're engaged. Otherwise it's a big taboo. Okay. And now let's talk about sending the right message. There are lots of critical bullet points what to pay attention at when writing the right message to the customers. The first thing, and which is very important, is that you need to get to the point straight away. Let's imagine a situation. Let's say you meet someone, I know, on Saturday afternoon in the street, your ex-classmate or your friend or something like that, and you stop chit-chatting, right? And that person starts saying, "Hey, yesterday when I was in a shopping mall and I saw that woman who had a dog and their child," and so basically there will be long sentences, and you will keep looking for, okay, but what's the purpose? What are you trying to say? This is something that we should really avoid when communicating to our customers, no matter whether in writing or personally. Always get to the point. You can start a message saying like, "Hey, I'm writing to you as we have just launched our new feature." So there is a straight idea why do you contact the customer, and then you can continue with the rest. Personal tone. It is very important to pay attention at the tone when you're communicating to the customers. For example, I don't like those newsletters or those emails from other services I'm associated with who are too much strict. For example, they close their emails, "You're sincerely, truly, you're the only one, best," I don't know. That's a bit too much for me, and because I personally feel so old when reading messages like that. And Intercom says the same. We really need to find that personal tone when communicating with customers, but don't make it too personal. For example, you can start a message saying, "Hi David, I'm writing to you with the purpose of," and so on. But avoid saying, "Hey dude, what's up?" That's too much. What Intercom says is that the best way to communicate with the customers is to communicate with them in the same way as if it was your auntie you haven't seen for years. Because you won't be too personal with her, obviously, because there is no contact between you, but still you will not be too strict, so you will treat her as a very distant relative. Make your message relevant. Yeah, this topic or this idea is also very close to stays very close with visitor segmentation. So, for example, if someone has just signed up to the free trial period, don't send that person an email about your pricing. This is not relevant at that point. For example, if with Optimonk someone signs up to the free trial period, and if that person hasn't even started using yet, if we keep bombing that person with emails about the pricing, this will lead to nowhere. That person is going to feel that we keep pushing him, but what we need to do is to take into consideration the relevancy of the messages. Send the pricing ideas or maybe some kind of special offers or discounts, or I don't know, only when you know for sure that that person has already walked through the onboarding funnel, and then you can do so. Or if by any chance that person is still in the middle or the beginning of the onboarding level, but he contacted you personally saying that yes, I'm ready to sign up now because I'm already convinced, then you can go to the point, but otherwise your message is not going to be relevant. Always be polite. I have heard so many stories about other customer representatives being impolite with their users or with their buyers. For instance, I have already heard many stories even within our company when others bought products somewhere. For example, there is a lady who is now within our room, but I'm not going to say her name. She bought a cell phone online, and she also ordered a glass cover for that phone, and the size didn't match the phone itself. And she contacted the customer support saying, "Hey, I believe this size is wrong. Could you please help me?" A very short, polite message. Well, she replied. She got a reply saying, "Actually, no, we can't help you." Then she contacted them again saying, "But you did a mistake, and here's the photo. The cover does not match the size of the phone." And what was the reaction of the customer support? "Do you think our people are idiots? They know what they are doing, and actually it's your fault." And that was an extremely rude message. It happened many months ago, but still I was so shocked that it's still happening in today's world when there are so many competitors. She could easily, as she has just bought that phone a few days ago, she could send it back and she could request for a refund. I don't know why the companies, they are not afraid to lose their customers, but that was shocking for me. And I have heard so many stories behind when the customer support and the company is absolutely impolite with their users. And what I really love about Innonic, and this is not the PR, is that we really pay attention at how we communicate with the customers. So even if that we know in the middle of our thoughts that customer is absolutely not right, we keep being polite, we keep being calm, we keep calming down the customer, and nothing like that. That's a big taboo here at Innonic, and I think this is something that all companies should follow. Speak consistently. What Intercom says about it is that there must be a dedicated team within your company who communicates with the clients. And why is it important? Because even within one company there is diversity of people. They all have different styles of communication, different languages, different attitudes, and if the customer is going to be bombed with messages from too many people from one company, the consistency is going to be lost after a while. For example, someone may say, "Hey dude," while the others one will close the email saying "yours sincerely." So that's too much. So there always needs to be one dedicated team of marketers and customer support people who are trained how to communicate, how to reflect the style and image of the company. Because when you're communicating with the customers, they are not going to associate the communication with you personally, so not with me as Viktória, but with me as Optimonk or with me as Innonic. So that is very important to be consistent when communicating with the customers, otherwise they are going to feel like this. And be honest about your mistakes. We are all human beings, right? All of us make mistakes. Only those people don't make mistakes who don't work. And sometimes it may happen, for example, I don't know, let's say someone has already paid the invoice, but there was an administrative mistake and the account wasn't activated, or I can list many things that may happen because of human error. It happens. It's not that comfortable to be in a situation like that, but anything happens. The customer may obviously be not satisfied and may say that, yeah, I'm going to go to the newsletter, I will write on Facebook, or things like that. But if you are going to be honest with that person, saying, yeah, here I did a mistake, but I've already done all the steps in order to avoid it in the future, that's it. The situation is going to be closed straight away. Don't search for excuses. Don't say, and what is very important, don't point fingers at your teammate. For example, if one representative of the customer support did an administrative mistake and the customer reports it to you, you will not say, you should not say, hey, actually it was her, it wasn't me. So yeah, but ask for apologies, be honest that yeah, it happened on our end, but just give me a few minutes, it's going to be sorted out, and that's all. The issue is going to be closed. Or if there is an IT issue, anything can happen. Never say, yeah, actually our IT people, they did a so bad job that yeah, I'm going to report it to our CEO straight away. No, nothing like that should happen. Be honest, admit it. Yes, we did a mistake, but yes, we are going to correct it, and yes, this will never happen in the future again. And that's it. I also make mistakes every week or even not every day. If I'm honest with the customers, I have never been in a situation so far when customer did not accept me being honest. So be honest. The right subject line. So it's very important how you write an email to your customers or to your users. For example, here I brought you 3 examples of subject lines for an email. I'm pretty sure that many of you have already received or keep receiving emails every day with a subject line that says nothing, right? For example, I don't know how did I get on that newsletter list, but I'm on the newsletter of Interspar. And they keep sending me emails with such an ugly subject lines. For example, they just write an Interspar. Okay, and what to do with that? What Intercom says about it, and that's definitely true, that write a subject line which reflects what is going to be in the email, so that that person who reads it is going to have a desire to open it. For example, the good one, Ginger Nut Media's 50% off, 6 days left. So that's a good subject line. Or you can say, for example, 10+2 tips how to lose weight in a short time. Or I don't know, or Black Friday sales this weekend. So something that really reflects what is going to be in the email. Then there is a bad one. We have a sale that we believe would interest you. So this say nothing. This say nothing, like in the first subject line, it says there is a sale of 50%, which is more information obviously than saying there's a sale that is interesting for you. And the ugly one, open me. Yeah, sometimes I receive newsletters like that saying open me or this is your last chance. I just delete them or mark as spam. I do nothing with them, or after a while I unsubscribe, because that's not professional, right? And of course the call to action. Never end an email without any conclusion or without any call to action. For example, if you are sending an email to your freemium users to upgrade to a paid level, close the email saying and you can subscribe here with the link, or you can check our latest sales here with the link, or don't forget to fill in our survey and share your opinion with us. Here's the link. So there must be some kind of call to action. What you write to customers or the users, it's not a simple book to read, but you really want to achieve something, right? And what would you like to achieve? To improve your conversions, no matter what kind of conversion is that. You want to have money out of it. So if that person reached the level of reading your email as a whole, always add a call to action button or a link. Paragraphs. What do you think if you receive an email like this? Don't pay attention about the text itself, it's just a lorem ipsum one, but the structure itself, is it easy readable? What do you think, Audrey? What do you think? Would you read an email like that?
Not at all.
Not at all, right. So that's a very hardly readable email. One long sentence, I guess, so no spaces, no gaps, no one will read messages like that. Mostly nowadays when most of the entrepreneurs or business people, they read their emails on mobile phones. Just imagine yourself being or sitting in the car in a traffic jam, you decide to read your emails, you get something like that. You will not read it, right? I won't, definitely, I won't. So pay attention and making gaps. Here is an example of an email, how it should look like. The first paragraph should always include why do you contact that person. The second one, the main purpose or what would you like to say to that person. And the very last sentence should include a call to action. And that's all. It can be longer, definitely, but if it's properly structured, it's going to be easy readable. And now let's talk about the right message types and the right tools or ways to communicate with customers. Basically, welcome messages. Why are welcome messages so important? For example, when you sign up to a service or free trial or anything like that, the goal of the company should be to make these customers or these users feel that they became the part of a community. So why not give them a warm welcome? Why don't hug them virtually, saying, hey, welcome, you have just joined us and we are very happy to have you here, and actually here are a few information that you need to know about the onboarding. For example, you can include information how to contact the customer support, where to find an FAQ page, how to the most frequently asked questions of the users. So this information can all be included in welcome message, but this is very important to communicate the person straight away via welcome message. Milestone messages. Here it is not about milestones of your service or about the company, but rather the milestone of the customers. For example, let's say someone set up Intercom, for instance, and set up the very first campaign of sending out emails, and last week, let's say 1,000 people have opened the email, right? Which is a great opening, great. You can send an email to that person saying, hey, congratulations, you reached the milestone because 1,000 people have opened your email last week. That's well done, just keep it going like that. By the way, here are some tips how you can make it even better. So you can congratulate, you can, why it's good, because you support the idea that that customer is doing something right and he will not feel alone or lost about the results he have already achieved. I have worked with many customers who had doubts about the results that they achieved so far, and after a short communication the person became convinced, saying, yeah, actually these are good results. Now that you're saying that, I believe you. So this is very important. Feature announcements, definitely, from miniature features to the advanced ones, they all need to be announced to the customers. And moreover, what does Intercom say about it? That you should not just send a newsletter about the new feature only once to that person, but you can segment your users based on the features that they are using and send them warning messages saying, did you know that there are some extra features which may fit you and your goals? Try them out here and here. This is how you can improve the engagement of your visitors, or customers, and you can also, maybe that will be something new for them, that actually your service has that feature. And feedback messages. I'm pretty sure that many of you, I personally did receive emails saying, hey, please give us your feedback. It takes only 1 minute. What is wrong about asking feedbacks is that most companies, how they do so. They send an email, hey, please reply and give us your feedback. What I do in cases like that, I said, okay, I have no time for it, just leave me alone. But if they send, hey, here is a 5 question survey with predefined answers, select which of them are the closest for you, they will more likely spend some time with it. It will take them approximately 1 minute. You can highlight it that it takes only 1 minute. Just select your answers and it will help a lot. And always be clear why are you asking for feedback. Don't ask feedback just because your feedback is important to us, because it's not a value proposition for the customer, but say because our senior feedback manager is revising all the feedbacks once a week, and based on the feedbacks we implement further changes to our service or features. So it sounds more realistic, and there is a straight goal. Why do you ask for feedbacks? And how to communicate these messages? Basically, there are four most frequently happening ways to do so. The first is email. Well, we all use email for communications every day, with customers, with relatives, with everyone basically. There are benefits or advantage and disadvantages of sending emails. Advantage is that there is no risk behind sending emails. You just write it, send it, it's free. There are no limits, so basically you can do so anytime. What is the disadvantage is that emails, they keep becoming maybe more and more some kind of how old school. That's why the reply rate is very low, the opening rate is even lower, so that's why you really need to pay attention at your subject line to make sure that your email is going to be readable. But basically the email is still a classic way to communicate with the customer, so even if less and less people use it. Chat is a great way to communicate with the customers. So how it has worked, how it worked in the past is that there was a chat window saying, hey, contact us if you have questions. After a while, entrepreneurs and business owners realized that actually it's not going to work out, because people, they don't like asking questions. Even if they have questions, they will never ask them, right? And they will just bounce the website without purchasing the product. So that's how chatbots, why they were developed, which are basically, this is what Intercom partially do. They have chatbot functions saying, based on the visitor's behavior on the website, it's possible to set up customized messages. For example, let's say if someone is on the pricing page, the chatbot is going to say, hey, did you know that we have got special sales this weekend? Would you like to learn more about it? So it's more automatic way of communication, which increases the level of engagement, and it really works. We use chatbots for Optimum too, so I could recommend it to use everyone, because the chatbots really keep the visitors engaged. Push notifications. Why push notifications, why they are good is that actually we all have cell phones in our pockets. Whenever we receive a push notification, our phone starts to vibrate, so we will instantly check it out, right? But what is the disadvantage behind push notification is that, let's say someone is reading his or her email, or someone is typing an email on the bus, for example, and then out of the blue that person is going to be interrupted with a push notification saying, hey, check out our latest sales for shoes. I use this example because that's what happened to me the other day. I was on the bus and I wrote a very important email from my phone, and I received a push notification from one of the shoe websites saying to check out their website now, because they have 30% off available only in the next 15 minutes. I said, okay, I'm not going to buy your shoes now, let me finish my email. So that's what's happening to most of the people. So that's why push notifications should also be used wisely. And of course, in-app notifications, they are more and more commonly used. The advantage of them is that whenever that person is engaged, whenever that person is in the account, you can display messages within the app itself. What is the disadvantage of it is that it's not the best one for all types of the services. For example, let's say you are offering an invoicing service, software that generates automatic invoices or manual invoices for your customers. You will more likely log into it once or twice per month to download the invoices or to create 2 or 3 invoices. So that person is going to skip all the in-app notifications if that person is going to see them there. So it's really, it depends to the service type or to the software type when to use it. But I also haven't mentioned about the chat. What is very important to bear in mind that it happens very frequently in companies that the chat is sometimes it's too busy. One customer support representative speaks at the same time with 5-6 people, which is not effective at all. So if there is a high level of engagement on chat, if your people, your customers, they love using it, make sure that there are or more customer support representatives or limit the number of chats at the same time, otherwise it will not be effective. And basically that's all that I wanted to share with you here. So just to conclude what we have discussed today, we have spoken about the importance of customers, why it is important to distinguish the customer's communication, why it is important to pay attention at 4 hours, the right time, the right message, the right way of communications, and how to do so basically. And we have also discussed the potential tools or outcomes how to do so.